Good morning, students. My name is Samuel Chukwu Emeka. In this video, we shall subtract compound numbers in the United States Customary System. This is a continuation video from the videos on United States Customary System that we have been working for some time. So, before you continue with this video, it is important that you view the videos on conversion between units, conversion among units, and addition of compound numbers. This video, if you find it in the playlist, it is important that you follow the videos in order in that playlist, in order to gain a better understanding of the arithmetic operations. All right, let's go to solving problems. Question 1. 5 feet 7 inches minus 2 feet 4 inches. As we have been doing it, we note that the smaller unit is on the right, and then the bigger unit is on the left. Feet is greater than inches. Okay, the way we do subtraction is a little bit different, but in this particular question, it is kind of straightforward. Now, look at the way we do it. We do the 7 inches minus 4 inches. That gives us 3 inches. Then you ask yourself, what is the relationship between feet and inches? We see that 1 feet is 12 inches. So we have 3 inches, right? So we can get any feet from the 3 inches. We can get any integer, a whole number feet from the 3 inches. You know, in other words, 3 inches is less than 12 inches. So we can't get any feet from it. We can't get any whole number feet from it. So we just go leave it as 3 inches. Then we now do 5 feet minus 2 feet. And that gives us 3 feet. And this becomes our answer. Okay. Next question. Question 2. 13 yards 2 feet minus 11 yards 1.5 feet. We start with the right hand side, which is the smaller unit. 2 feet minus 1.5 feet gives us a 0.5 feet. Then we ask ourselves, what is the relationship between a yard and feet? We see that 1 yard makes 3 feet, and 0.5 is less than 3. So we cannot get any whole number yards, integer yards from the 0.5 feet. So we leave it as a 0.5 feet, right? Then we go ahead and do 13 yards minus 11 yards, and that gives us 2 yards. So our answer becomes 2 yards, 0.5 feet. Question 3. 6 miles, 240 rods, minus 3 miles, 310 rods. Okay, we start with the smaller feet, which is the rod. If we do 240 rod minus 310 rods, okay, we'll see that 240 is less than 310. And that would give us a negative in the rod. We don't want that. Okay, so like you do fractions, we need to borrow 1 mile from this guy here, from the 6 mile here, because we wouldn't have to get a negative length. We don't get negative lengths in this kind of a linear measurement. So we will have to borrow 1 mile from this guy, And we see that 1 mile is equal to how many rods? You ask yourself, what is the relationship between miles and rods? We see that 1 mile is 320 rod. Okay, and I'm going to circle it. Now, when we borrow 1 mile from the 6 miles, right, we are left with 5 miles here. We're now left with 5 miles here. So we come back here. We now say, okay, 320 plus 6 plus 240. That gives us 560, right? When we borrow the 1 mile, we have 320 rods, so we add it to 240. It gives us 560. Then we now say 560 minus 310, and that gives us 250 rods. So we now come to the greater unit, which is on the left hand side. 5 miles minus 3 miles, it gives us 2 miles. And our answer becomes 2 miles, 250 rods. Question 4. 17 yards, 2 feet, 2.15 inches, minus 14 yards, 2 feet, 4.25 inches. We start with the smallest unit, which is the inches. 2.15 inches minus 4.25 inches. That would lead us to a negative value, which we don't want. So what do? We've got to borrow, right? We borrow 1 feet here. We've got to borrow 1 feet here. And when we borrow 1 feet there, we see that 1 feet is, we ask ourselves, what is the relationship between feet and inches? And we see that 1 feet is 12 inches. So I'm going to circle it. And when we do borrow 1 feet here, don't forget, some folks forget, okay? It's good you go straight away and write it, that what is remaining here is 1 feet, because you've borrowed 1 feet. All right, we now come over here. We now say 12 inches plus 2.15 inches. That gives us 14.15 inches. You now do 14.15 inches minus 4.25 inches. And that gives us 9.9. Of course, it's 9.90, which is 9.9 inches. Okay, so we are settled with inches. We come over to feet. We see that 1 feet minus 2 feet is going to give us a negative value, right? And we don't want that. So what do? We've got to borrow. We borrow 1 yard. 1 yard from this guy. And 1 yard is let me extend it well so you see. So we've got to borrow 1 yard from this guy. And 1 yard is how many feet? You ask us, what is the relationship between yard and feet? 1 yard is 3 feet. Right? Let me circle it. Okay, and once you do that, what is remaining here? 16 yards is now remaining here. 16 yards. So you now come back here and you say 3 feet plus 1 feet is 4 feet. 4 feet minus 2 feet is 2 feet. Then you now say 16 yards minus 14 yards gives us 2 yards. And the answer becomes 2 yards, 2 feet, and 9.9 inches. Okay? Question 5. 13 yards, half feet, minus 11 yards, 2 feet. We start with the smaller unit on the right. Half feet minus 2 feet will give us a negative value, which we don't want. So what do? We borrow 1 yard from this guy, from 13 yards. Then we ask ourselves, what is the relationship between yards and feet? We see that 1 yard is 3 feet. And I'm going to circle it. Then when we have borrowed 1 yard from 13 yards, we are now left with 12 yards, right? I'll circle it. So we come back to the right hand side. We now say 3 feet plus 1 plus half feet. Now, don't be scared of fractions. You know, some folks, when it comes to fractions, they are kind of anxious, right? Now, if you don't know how to add and subtract fractions, I did videos on that. I would encourage you to look at those videos. Okay? So, I assume that you have a knowledge of fractions, but if you do not, please go ahead and view my videos on fractions. And they can all be found on my website. I will give you my website at the end of this lesson. So 3 feet plus half feet will give us 3.5 feet, right? 3.5 feet minus 2 feet will give us 1.5 feet. Then we come back to the left. 12 yards minus 11 yards gives us 1 yard. So our answer becomes 1 yard, 1.5 feet. Question 6. Last but not the least. 9 feet, 1/3/8 inches minus 7 feet. 9 feet, 1/3/8 inches minus 7 feet, 7/16 inches. We start with the smaller unit on the right. 1/3/8 minus 8/7/16 will give us a negative value, right? So what do? We borrow. We borrow 1 feet from 9 feet. We have that 1 feet is how many inches? 12 inches. I put my circle. And when I do that, what is remaining here? 8 feet. I write it and I circle it just to make sure. Okay, so we now say 12 inches plus 1/3/8 inches, then minus 8/7/16 inches. I've got to solve this. I've got to solve it. I can do it offhand, but it's good to solve it, not to make mistakes. Now, what I will do is I do 12 plus 1/3/8, right? Of course, that will give me 13/3/8 minus 8/7/16. 13 whole number 3/8 minus 8 whole number 7/16. They don't have a common denominators. So I'll have to, one way is to convert to improper fraction. Okay. 8 times 13 will give us 104 plus 3, 107/8 minus 16 times 8 will give us 128. 8 times 6 is 48. 8 times 1, 8 plus 4, 12. 128 plus 7 is going to be 135. And you can do this with your calculator if, to be sure, you can check it with your calculator. Okay, and I hope you know you can do this fraction just right away with your calculator. Okay, we have to make this to be common denominator. So this is 8 and this is 16. I know I've got to multiply this by 2 so I can subtract right away. So 2 times 107 is 214 over 16 minus 135 over 16. Right? If you don't get it, please watch my video on fractions. And this will give us 79 over 16. Right? Which is 16 into 79. 16 times 5 is 80. So 16 times 4, 64. 79 minus 64 gives us 15 over 16. So this will now be a 4 whole number, 15 over 16 inches. And here will now be 8 feet minus 7 feet, which gives us 1 feet. So our answer becomes 1 feet, 4 whole numbers, 15 over 16 inches. Okay, please, I hope you do understand the method of how this works. If you have any question, feel free to call me or text me or email me. Now, if you are not my student and you're watching this video and you have questions, you can go to my website, or you can actually type it on the comments. Okay? And this is my website, Samdom for Peace. Now this is my new website. You know, I have my latest website. I have several of them. All right. www.samdomforpeace.com. Thank you, students, and you have a great day.